Well, how's it going, everybody? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone. I hope you all are having a great evening. And I wanted to chat with you a little bit about a couple of things. We got a couple cool things going. I want to talk about NAMM. I didn't go, but I've been paying really close attention. And we got a few requests actually just today on our YouTube channel through comments and stuff to say, hey, what is your favorite stuff from NAMM? So I want to share that with you. I figured I would just do it live. It's the easiest way. Y'all can hang out in the comments and do me a favor. If there's something that you saw from NAMM or you were there or you could share something, please do it in the comments so that we can talk about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you think was cool, misses, hits, anything like that. Put it in the comments below and we'll talk about it. Before we get to that though, I want to talk about one other thing. Remember a few months ago, we did an acoustic strings shootout where I bought all those strings and I played them for a week at a time, and we did them, we did like this blind test thing. I want to do something similar, but that time I actually picked my favorite. I want you to pick it. So there's a couple things. If you go on our YouTube timeline right now, you'll see there's a picture of a telly and it says, help me pick 16 different kinds of strings. Put it in the comments and pick strings that we want to use in this shootout. Now look at the other comments because there's a lot of people that are like asking for the same thing, but put what you want me to test. Like I want 16 of them because what we're going to do is like bracket style test them. And I'm actually going to, on our Twitter feed, on our Instagram feed, on our Facebook feed, and on our YouTube feed, I'm going to actually put polls and you're going to be able to pick, do you like this one better or do you like this one better? And we're going to actually let you choose, and we're going to like bracket it down, and it's going to become like the winners of our little shootout. I think it's going to be kind of fun. I saw this done, I'm not going to lie, I saw this done with cell phone pictures, and I want to try it with guitar strings. I think it'll be super cool. Super cool. So I'll tell you what, let's make sure we can see some comments here, and make sure that I can hang out with you guys. Okay, cool. So let's talk about NAMM. What did you see at NAMM that you thought was awesome? I'm going to start over here. I've got a couple things to talk about. So let's do this. We'll put our head in the box, and the first thing we're going to talk about is Martin Guitars. Now, Martin Guitars has a couple of cool things going. The picture I have is the D13E. They also had some like road models. Basically what they did, I think, is kind of reimagined or rebranded some of their like a DCPA4 and some of the other guitars that were in the $1,200 to $1,600 range, kind of more affordable for guys that are gigging every weekend. Really good guitars, actually. Changed the neck profiles a little bit on them, made them easier to play, and they also changed some materials. So if you follow us on our Facebook, you'll know that we did a conversation last week about new materials on acoustic guitars, because a lot of people get really bent out of shape when somebody changes the traditional materials, right? Mahogany, rosewood, stuff like that. Well, these new guitars that Martin is building they have some new stuff. I can't even remember the name of it, to tell you the truth right now. So definitely check out Martin Guitars. They have another guitar that has a carbon fiber sandwich bridge, which I think is so cool. And it has metal bridge pins, and they're doing it for durability and tone. I mean, so cool. And new neck shapes, new materials, everything. It just goes to show that even a really traditional guitar brand can do things like this and really come up with some cool stuff. So yeah, I just really think that's cool. Let's look at another thing I want to talk about here. Vox Amplification came out with a few cool things. I'm really impressed with what they're doing on the more accessible for students and up-and-coming guitar players, that end of their range. So what we have shown here is actually an amp that's really super lightweight. I believe there's a 15-watt version or something and a 30 or 50-watt version. The one in the picture is 50 watts. It has a new tube in it, and it's actually like excuse me, some sort of plastic speaker box with some bass reflex built in. I think it's fantastic. It only weighs a few pounds. Anybody can take it, lug it around, gig with it. 50 watts is 50 watt new tube is plenty to go gig with or go to an open mic night with, anything like that. It's not an expensive amp, super attainable. And one of the things I really like about a bunch of the different amps that came out, Vox, somebody on my Facebook feed mentioned Fryette and also Fender on these new beginner amps. And those of you that are maybe stepping out of the beginner amp into something a little bit more, some of those amps are too confusing. They put too many effects in them. They put too many buttons. And some of the models that are coming out now are a little bit more simplified. Just turn it on, volume and tone, and go, and be able to actually do something properly good with those amps. I really dig kind of that direction and making it more attainable for more people, less confusing. Super awesome. One of the other things I want to talk about real quickly here is Marshall came out with three, I can't remember what the series is called, but basically they're 20 watt versions of their bigger amps. So here we have the JCM 900, only it's 20 watts. We have, or not the JCM, that's a Plexi. The JCM 800, and I think the Jubilee, was it like the 2550 or whatever, the silver one? 20 watt versions of that, which is still a giggable amp, open mic night, practice at home, but you still have that legendary sound of a Marshall, all tube, small amp. Dig it. Super dig that. I really, 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 really dig that. I want one. I want that picture in that amp, in that picture, in that amp in that picture right there. I want that thing. That's really cool. Probably, I don't know if I'll buy it, but that would be on my short list. Backing up to Vox really fast. They have a, I think it's AC15 and an AC30 version that came out this year with warehouse speakers. I might be not 100% right on the actual model, but they came out with a WGS speaker that gives it kind of more of a, like the British sound of the amp and the American sound of the speaker like mixed together. I think that's really cool too. Which, because a lot of people do that anyway, right? So then they built it that way. I really, really, really dig that amp, that idea. And then let's talk again. Let's talk about another guitar. So Taylor came out with this new body shape, Pacific something, Grand Pacific. I think it's called Grand Pacific. Very cool. Not huge. It's not an auditorium, but it's not a parlor. It's kind of in between. New shape, new bracing, new size. Dig it. I'm not personally a Taylor fan, but I think that there's going to be a lot of people that really like that guitar. It's very, very cool. Let's talk about some more weird guitars, shall we? Let's talk about this thing. Jimmy Page. And then I didn't get a picture of it for this broadcast, but the white one with the mirrors on it also. So this Jimmy Page guitar right here, I posted a picture of this last week, and I thought the internet was going to explode. This is the stupidest thing ever. It's so ugly, blah, blah, blah. Why would anybody want that? Blah, 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 blah. But do you know that the, whatever it is, $4,700 custom shop version on Saturday at NAMM was already sold out? Now, I imagine they probably are going to do like another run of it. But man, there's a lot of Jimmy Page fans. They're going to sell every one of those that they make. I know I personally am not a fan, and you may not be a fan, but this is a great lesson in, and we're going to talk about another guitar about like this later. This, a few actually. This is a great lesson in why, even though you might not like it, or you might not be able to afford it, or you might not want to spend that much money on it, it doesn't make it stupid, and it doesn't make it not worth building, because there's a lot of people out there that want this stuff. I thought this guitar was the dumbest idea from the minute they thought of it, and obviously I'm totally wrong, right? I mean, they're selling them as fast as they can make them. So just a good lesson for all of us, right? That's what I feel like for myself anyway. Let's see. Let's talk about Kemper. So you all know that I'm a Kemper guy. I play Kemper. I love it. And I had to have made a custom cabinet so that I could play my powered Kemper through a guitar cabinet. Well, Kemper has now come out with one, and I think it's very cool. And the very cool part about this is Celestion actually made a speaker for Kemper that they only sell to Kemper for Kemper. It's for this thing. and you'll actually be able to buy that speaker and put it in other cabinets. So they did something. They've done something special to make this thing work, and I think it's very, very cool, and I want it. Even if I don't buy the new cabinet, I might buy one of their speakers and put it in the cabinet that I have. Because on top of that, it's supposed to work with a new feature called Cone, which I don't 100% understand it yet, because I've just been trying to put together a bunch of YouTube videos like to figure it out. You know, you got this guy who says a little something and this guy who says a little something, and you try to put it all together. So I'm not going to get all into all the details because I don't understand them totally. But what I do understand is that you will be able to actually play with the voicing of this speaker depending on what cabinet you're choosing, but still be able to have and profile, but still be able to have at your disposal a actual guitar cabinet, which is what I want, because that to me is the thing that makes a Kemper feel amazing when you're playing it live. That's why it works. And I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me about that, but I am not a full range, full response speaker. I want a guitar cabinet. And so this is really cool, and apparently a lot of other people do because they're building it now. So that's very cool. Still related to Kemper, we'll talk real quickly about their software interface. They've never had one. Well, the rig manager is a joke, honestly. AxeFX has always had a really good one. Kemper has never had one. I don't think it's going to be as good as AxeFX. That's my opinion, just seeing screenshots and stuff. But it's still going to be good, and it's going to be better than what we have now, and I'm really excited about it, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. And there's some new reverbs and some new other stuff too, but that is going to be awesome. I'm really excited about having that. So there. Let's see. Let's talk about some more controversial guitar junk. What about this? I posted this on my Facebook last week, and everybody was like, this is the stupidest thing. No, wait. That Fender is the stupidest thing. No, wait. This is the stupid... Like, it was like a competition about the stupidest guitar you were going to see at NAMM. Again, this thing is going to sell. It's going to sell. I know people who have Van Halen shoes. Right? They don't even wear them. They're just like a shoe that looks like that with the stripes on it, and they put it on their shelf. Like, whatever. It's cool. And if you're into Van Halen, you should buy one of those guitars, and you probably will. I mean, people will, right? Another piece of tech that I think is really cool. This is by Boss. This is the Wasa something. But this is a box that goes with your guitar amp head that basically is a responsive load and acts like a speaker and allows you to be able to use your amp in other ways than just wide open. So you'll be able to actually take your amp and run it wide open all on 10 and not go deaf, not kill the crowd, and be able to record with it, plus a whole bunch of other features that if you go to Boss's website, you'll read about this thing, and I know you'll want it. If you play big amps, this is really, really cool. This is not a power break. This is not a power soak. This is not an attenuator. It is an actual piece of technology that is far beyond those other things that we are used to seeing. Because a lot of people say, oh, that's just a new version of an attenuator. It's not. It's not. It's totally different. They had like a 20-minute video on it that I watched the other day. There's no point in going into all the details about it. I don't 100% understand it at this point because I've not been able to like turn the knobs myself. But there it is. And I think it's very cool. Let's see. I guess that's it. Oh, no, it's not. This. Tell me in the comments right now what you think about this guitar. I know there was a reason why I kept this one for last. The Fender Acoustasonic telly looking thing. Again, A, this is not like the old Fender Acoustasonic. B, it is not like that fake acoustic / telly shaped guitar that there was in the 80s that like, who played that thing? Like Skid Row or somebody? This is not that. This is an actual piece of tech. This was designed by the guy that designed the Taylor T5, and it has a lot of really, really cool features. And again, this is another thing that's really weird that a lot of people said they were going to hate. But then as the days go by and they start to learn the details of what this thing can actually do, they're like, oh, maybe this isn't so bad. And I, for one, want one. I play, I have a live gig that I play. We have 2 gigs this month and 2 next month. So not a lot, but some. And I want this because I play an acoustic gig. Right now, I actually bring my Kemper, and I use an overdrive with my Kemper to give my acoustic some different sounds, and I play with a tremolo and some other stuff. If I had this, I wouldn't do that. I would just bring this because it does a couple things. One, it has a magnetic pickup like a Tele. I don't think it's like vintage Tele or anything, but it sounds like a Tele. In a bar on Saturday night, it sounds like a Tele. Then you flip another switch, and it sounds like a Tele with a little bit of drive on it. You flip the switch again, then it sounds like 5 different acoustic guitars. It has a contact pickup, so you can beat on it and do all that like Tommy Emmanuel stuff, only not as good probably. Yeah, I mean, really cool tech. It's $1,600 I think, which is a little steep. So I think somebody said here they weren't going to buy one, but they think it's a future classic. I think it's a future Reverb find. I think in about 6 months, when I can get one for about $800 on Reverb, that's when I'm going to buy one. But I really think it's very cool. You're right. It sounds cool. It's neat. It's a great idea. It's a cool thing. A little too expensive. If I was gigging every weekend and I had a gig for it, that it was that thing and it was for that, I would probably buy it right now. But I don't play this gig that I've got, I don't play it enough to justify buying that just for that. You know what I mean? But I think it has a place. It's very, very cool. Before we go, is there anything that you have seen at NAMM that you saw on YouTube, that you saw in magazine, online magazines or anybody's social media that you think is cool, that you think we should talk about before we leave? Because those are the things that I had. Now, I know there was a lot more stuff. I mean, obviously there was a lot more stuff, but you could only talk about so much of it. There was a lot of good, good beginner guitar stuff, which I think is really cool. I think that's good. I think there's a lot of bringing. Some years it feels like it's just nothing but a bunch of like unattainable, super custom shop boutique-y stuff that nobody can afford. And this year it felt like a lot of the stuff I saw was stuff that I think more beginner guitar players and progressing guitar players, it's within their reach and they would actually buy it, which I think is really cool. The one thing we did not talk about, I'll bring it up now. I have been following for about 2 weeks or so on social media, Twitter, all of them, and on YouTube and in the press. I've been following Gibson pretty closely, and they had a big room there. And I watched some interviews. I watched some press stuff. I watched, if you get a chance, go to PremierGuitar.com's YouTube channel. John Bollinger did a thing where he spent like an hour and a half and went through the whole 2019 lineup. They're doing some very, very cool things. I did buy, so it didn't have pickups in it, but I did buy a 2019 Les Paul already, and I am very impressed with the quality of it. I would recommend it to anybody. I'm gonna, in fact, as soon as somebody says, hey, please build me an Explorer, please build me a Les Paul Classic, please build me a Les Paul Studio with one of those Stratosphere builds, I am going to do it again. They are very good. I really want to build an Explorer, just so you know. I really want to build an Explorer. So if anybody wants an Explorer at less than Gibson street price, please let me know, and I want to build you one. That's really on my short list. But what they're doing is very cool. Did I talk about the Fender 12 string? I did not. I did not talk about the Fender 12 string. I did see some Epiphone stuff there. They had a lot of Epiphone stuff. I did not pay 100% attention to it, to be honest. I was really looking at, there was two things I was looking at. The block of Epiphone as a whole, and what I feel that they are bringing to the table with Epiphone is more attainable signature models. Like, so you could get, you know, they're making signature models of a lot of people in a guitar that people can afford, which I think is very cool. Not just custom shop only. Epiphone versions. I really dig that. I think that's very cool. And there's going to be a lot of people that will say, well, I can't afford a Gibson because Gibson's too expensive. Well, that's what Epiphone is for. And so go buy an Epiphone. And because it says Epiphone on the peg head, doesn't mean anything. Just go buy it. If you like it, go buy it. And I also like what they're doing with, obviously, the standard line. They're really going back to some really traditional, cool stuff. If you go watch that video from Premier Guitar with John Bollinger where he goes through all that, they go through every little detail. What they did with the widths, what they did with the neck profiles, what they did with the pickups, what they did with the pots, what they did with caps, like everything to get everything as accurate as possible, but at the same time, make tiny, tiny little changes to make the guitar actually work and make it to where it didn't have intonation problems and stuff like that. So I really, 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 really like what Gibson has been doing. And I like the direction they're going. I like the fact that they're closing down the Memphis plant, relocating employees to Nashville, and bringing it all in, and expanding the Montana plant. Like, they're doing some really, really cool things. So I'm very stoked to see that. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Do me a favor and make sure that you find us on social media, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram, and comment what you want us to use for our string shootout, because we're going to get that going in the next week or so, and you are going to be a part of it, and you all are ultimately going to choose who wins that thing. So I'm really, really excited about it. The other thing is, like I said, what should we build for our next project build, and do you want to be involved? We'd love for you to be involved. And yes. And that's it. Thanks for hanging out. I don't go live on Mondays anymore, so this was kind of fun to go live for just a few minutes. Did it from the kitchen this time. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. If you're new here, also say hello. I see a lot of familiar faces. Hey, everybody, in the comments. And if you're new here, make sure you say hello as well. And welcome to the Dylan Talks Tone community. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll talk to you all very soon.